Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Alex and welcome to my first video doing recaps for games of the night. The 4 games that we had on tonight were Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Nuggets, Heat and Bucks, Clippers and Suns, and the Lakers and Grizzlies. This is going to be kind of new for the channel, so if you guys do end up enjoying this video and want to see more future videos like this one that we're about to go through, make sure to like and sub. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the year, so it would mean a lot. Anyways, let's get started, and we're just going to go through this Timberwolves Nuggets game real quick, and the Nuggets kind of just blew them out. It was an overall great win. Right now, there's like 5 minutes left. Nuggets are up 97-70. This game is pretty much over, and even though the Nuggets didn't particularly like explode out of the water, and they weren't really like doing anything crazy on offense, it was kind of just normal Nuggets things. This was just a really good overall win. There was equal scoring balance between pretty much everyone, including Bruce Brown off the bench. Everyone was in double figures, and defensively I think we really got to see what the Nuggets could potentially look like as we get deeper into this playoffs, but it also kind of has to play a part in the Timberwolves, and Karl Anthony Towns just yet again proving to us that he is not a playoff performer. I know there is still some time left in this game, but Karl Anthony Towns shot 5 for 15 from the field. He only had 11 points. He missed 2 free throws, which was crazy. He was 1 for 7 from 3, and he also had 4 turnovers, so this was just a really bad game from Towns. Gobert honestly didn't really provide much on the offensive end either, but that's really kind of what we expected. Anthony Edwards also had a decent game, but he did find himself in a little bit of foul trouble, so that kind of limited his time on the court, and the Timberwolves really didn't stand a chance. So we're just going to move on into our next game, and it's the Heat and the Bucks. This one is also going to go pretty quick because even though the Bucks only lost by 13 and they were pretty much keeping it close throughout the entire game, this game kind of died as soon as Giannis Antetokounmpo got injured. For those of you who did not see the injury, Giannis was driving into the lane, and I believe Kevin Love was trying to go for a charge. He eventually got the charge, but then Giannis kind of flew in the air, landed on his tailbone. He went to the locker room, came back out, tried to play on it. It just didn't work out, so he went back, and he was ruled out for the rest of the game, so he never came back. And from that moment, even the Bucks crowd wasn't really lit when the game first started, but once Giannis was out, the Bucks really didn't stand a chance, in my opinion. Tyler Hero also went out with an injury, and he most likely will not be playing in the playoffs anytime soon because he did break his hand. He's probably going to be missing time as well, so that also hurt the Heat. But the Heat were still able to get the win, and it was kind of an interesting way to win as well because the Heat all season haven't really been a great three-point shooting team, and in this particular game they went 15 for 25, which is 60% from the three-point line. That is ridiculous. That is not really supposed to happen just based off the averages that they have been going through in the regular season. And the Bucks this season also were known as a good three-point shooting team. I believe the Bucks were around 36 to 37% from 3, and in this game they went 11 for 45, which was pretty much about 24%. So they just did not do good at all, and Jimmy Butler was just willing his way into the rim. There was really no resistance at the rim despite Brook Lopez being on this Milwaukee Bucks roster, and that does kind of pose some questions. Is this going to consistently happen throughout the series? Brook Lopez has definitely improved as a defender. He was stepping up a lot more in pick and roll coverages, but in a lot of times Jimmy Butler made it to the rim. It just didn't seem like Brook Lopez was getting put into a lot of actions, so he kind of found himself kind of away from the rim a little bit more than you would expect. He still got his way a couple times. He did have some nice blocks on Jimmy Butler, but majority of the game Jimmy was going to the rim and he's either getting fouled, or he was getting the bucket, or he was assisting it to someone else like Bam. Now, do I think the Heat are going to shoot 60% from 3 next game? Probably not, but it will be interesting to see what happens now that not only Tyler Hero is out, but who knows, we don't really know yet if Giannis is going to be able to come back. So this series is going to be interesting, and now we're going to go into the game of the night, in my opinion, and that was Lakers versus Grizzlies. Now for this series, if you did watch my playoff predictions video, I did have the Lakers coming out of the series winning in 7 games, and a big reason why I thought they would be able to do it is because I thought the size was going to be really important for them, because not only is Brandon Clark out, but so is Steven Adams, and we saw in this game that Anthony Davis, even players like Rui Hachimura and LeBron, were just having their way, and I think a lot of that has to do with the size that the Memphis Grizzlies just could not match up with. Now, something that I did not expect, at least throughout this series, was the fact that Rui Hachimura was probably going to have his best game of his career. In this game, Rui Hachimura was the leading scorer for the Lakers. I know that's really hard to believe, and he shot 5 for 6 from 3, and he was making some really tough mid-range shots as well. Most of his threes were open. The Grizzlies were definitely happy leaving Rui open, and Rui was taking advantage, so shout out to Rui Hachimura. But when you think about the Lakers and the fact that, yes, they do have LeBron and AD, I think a big question mark is who is going to be that consistent third guy. I think a lot of the times that has been Austin Reaves. I think someone would also look at D'Angelo Russell in that scenario as well, but the fact that Rui Hachimura was able to step up, that's always great for the Lakers. And speaking of Austin Reaves being a consistent third option, he also had the game of his life. Austin Reaves had 23 points. He shot 8 for 13 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, shot 4 free throws, knocked them all down, also got you 4 assists, no turnovers as well, and he was a plus 15 overall throughout the game. He really took over at the end of that fourth. It seemed like once we hit that 6-minute mark, I think LeBron had came in at that point, and he wasn't even touching the ball. It was simply just Austin Reaves, and he looked Steve Nash-esque. He was just probing around after like an Anthony Davis screen, and he was either jumping it off to AD, passing it out to Rui, who of course was hot that game, or he's able to, you know, shoot some floaters, make some really tough mid-range shots. So shout out to Austin Reaves because that was also desperately needed. AD was also very good as well. He had 22 points, 12 rebounds, blocked 7 shots in this game alongside 3 steals, and that was really important for them because again, the size matters for the Lakers, especially against the Grizzlies, who are definitely undersized. And LeBron defensively was also great alongside Anthony Davis. He had 3 blocks and 2 steals in this game, and it was probably the best defense I think LeBron has played all season. And again, that is something that the Lakers desperately need. They've been especially great ever since they also traded for Jared Vanderbilt back at the midseason trade deadline. So just adding LeBron as a defensive monster in this game. He had like 2 or 3 chase down blocks. That was just really important for them winning this game. The Lakers were down most of this game, but it wasn't until like the end of the third and fourth quarter where Austin Reaves was just popping off. Shout out to the Memphis Grizzlies though. They did end up losing Ja Morant. Again, another injury. He had went up. Another charge was being set. That's also been a huge question in the NBA is now, does the charge need to be getting rid of? I kind of agree with that, but that's another video for another day. But Ja Morant also hurt his hand. It sounds like he's not going to be ready to go for game 2, and that means we don't really know when he's going to be back. So if Ja Morant isn't going to be playing for the next 2 to 3 games, it is looking really bad for the Grizzlies, especially since they do have home court advantage, and the Lakers did end up winning this one on the road. But shout out to Jaren Jackson Jr. though, he did have a really good game. He had 31 points in this game, shot it very efficiently, had some really nice little hook shots. I think he's definitely gotten better at those hook shots as the season has gone along, and of course we know what he brings defensively. He had 2 blocks and a steal in this game. But outside of Triple J, I think Desmond Bane had an okay game, but again, he had some foul trouble, so it kind of limited just how great he could have been. I think he could have played a little bit more. Dillon Brooks was just chucking up shots the entire game, which was hilarious to watch. And again, the size really came down to the Memphis Grizzlies losing this game. And for the last game of the night, we had game 1 of the Clippers versus Suns series, and I think this definitely does take the close second into the game of the night. The Clippers started off really well. I believe Eric Gordon had like the first 13 points of the Clippers 15 overall in the first quarter, and they were kind of up big after that first, but then once we got into the second, the Suns came back and they never really looked back. They always kind of had like a 5 to 10 point lead. Obviously that is close margin. Clippers could always just go on a run and make it back, but it seemed like once the Clippers got a couple buckets, the Suns would get a couple buckets back, get some stops, and kind of build a big lead. But then we get into this fourth quarter, and this fourth quarter was just absolutely huge. Kawhi Leonard, again, is just one of the best players in the NBA when he's healthy. That's always kind of the asterisk next to it. He ended this game with 38 points, shot it very efficiently, went 9 for 10 from the free throw line, and played some really great defense on KD. But the biggest question I have for the Clippers is now that Paul George isn't going to be playing most likely in this entire series, who is going to be that second guy that's going to be able to will them into these victories? And a big part of me did think it was going to be Norman Powell because he is probably their second best scorer on the team. And he played pretty well. He had 14 points in this game, went 5 for 10 from the field, so he played really good. But the player who really made the biggest impact as that second guy, in my opinion, was Russell Westbrook, which is crazy to say because this guy shot 3 for 19 from the field, only had 9 points, had 2 turnovers, but oh my, bruh. He had 10 rebounds and 8 assists, also had 3 blocks and 2 steals. And those rebounds really came in clutch because there was a time, I think it was like in the last minute or two, where the Clippers just were bricking shots and Westbrook kept tipping it out to other people. They would get another possession. And even throughout the game, Westbrook defensively was actually really good. I know my opinion on this is whenever you're a defensive player and you're chasing the offensive player and always trying to like go from behind to get the steal, sometimes I think that's kind of a detriment to the team, but Westbrook was doing a really good job at just staying in pursuit on those offensive players, especially Devin Booker. That was kind of his main assignment all day. And of course, at the very end of the game, Devin Booker went in for a layup. He was looking for the foul. He's complaining to the refs. And while he's complaining to the ref, again, Russell Westbrook saves the ball, throws it at Devin Booker, and they're able to pretty much seal this game off. And the Clippers won 115 to 110. And again, the home team loses. So that was a really interesting thing. The only team that did not lose at home was my Denver Nuggets, baby. Well, there you have it. Those are my recaps for the night. Let me know down below what y'all think if you enjoyed this sort of video format. This is very different for my channel, so if you did enjoy, make sure to like and sub. Check out my socials down below in the description, and you can also check out this video somewhere on the screen where I go over my official picks for the 2023 playoffs. Anyways, I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.